Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Fiverr Watch. I'm Altair,
Mayor.
And I'm Mika.
and we're here to talk about WandaVision episode 3 and 4.
Three
So all
and
of us just watched WandaVision episode 4, and last week we also watched episode 3, and just so many new things to talk about. But before we proceed, a cautionary warning for all of you who have not watched the fourth or third episode of WandaVision. Please stay away. This is our spoiler warning. Watch it first,
then watch our
then
video.
watch us, and then like and subscribe and follow.
Spoilers commence. Spoilers
Alright.
commence in 5, 4,
3,
3,
2.
2.
I know we're all excited about talking about episode 4 right now, but let's
But
dial
we'll
it
go for
back.
three because for me, I like three better than the fourth one.
Preposterous. Tell us why,
I
why?
can't say. Yeah.
I like the third one better because just for the sake that it still kept that sitcom vibe. The fact that it just built on the first two. The first two was kind of weird. It's only on the third one that you actually feel Wanda's intent. Wanda's intent to stay there.
There was that one scene where so they're pregnant, the doctor came, they started talking about I feel that the neighborhood is catching wind of us. It's like they're starting to get suspicious, and then Vision goes, I think there's something wrong here, Wanda. And then did you notice like it blips and then it
It
goes
jumped.
back to everything's fine, honey.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought that I was like, "Ugh, did I miss something? And I was like, is there something wrong with my file? Did something
my
get
download
corrupted? Or...
skip?
yeah,
But
I'm like, oh
yeah.
Which
crap.
which is a very good detail because episode 4 goes back to that moment.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
It goes back to that moment. Because while we're watching the first, second, and third, you're like, who's causing all of these things, right? Maybe they're in a simulation. Maybe a third party has like kidnapped Wanda and put her in this dreamlike state and whatever.
But that
But
could still
it's
be
only in
possible.
the
That
third
could still be
one.
possible though.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
possible. But in the third one, that when she decides to kick out Geraldine
Yeah.
of town, right?
Which now we know she
And
actually
then-
did.
Mhm.
And then that end scene wherein Vision entered and like, where's Geraldine? And with a calm but very
Sinister.
villainous. Like I've read somewhere that a lot of people see if that isn't a villain shot, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
she
That whole
left, honey.
like, oh, she left, honey.
She
She
had
needs
to
to rush
go.
home. Yeah.
That is
And
very
so-
interesting. I find it. I loved it. By the way, I love the whole the slapstick humor
Mhm.
in it with the
Yeah.
stork and everything, and then the fruits. It was like
Yeah.
super slapstick. I just love how creative they are with this, and I actually do like what Mayor said that they still kept with that because after episode 4, of course, I got a little worried that they might not be going the sitcom route anymore,
Yeah.
and I hope they actually go back. I hope they actually go back because it
Yeah.
was really fun to live in that reality. But I like that you brought up the other people in the neighborhood because I was actually so this is one of the things that I still can't figure out. Are they in on it? Well, we saw through episode 4 that they might be missing persons.
Yeah.
But I still can't break. Are they in on it? Like, because I was really puzzled by Agnes's reaction
Yeah.
to when Vision was like saying, "Oh, what's going on?" Because they were whispering about it, and then at one point they wanted to tell Vision, and then Agnes all of a sudden says, "No, never mind." But she was the one who initiated it in the first place. She was like, "Oh, Geraldine, she doesn't have a home."
Mm.
But then afterwards she's like, "Oh, wait, no." So it's like, what is their agenda and
So
all?
it's like they are conscious about where they are or what's
Yeah.
happening, but they can't tell Vision or Wanda and Vision or else. It's like they have something that's stopping them, but they really want
Maybe
to.
they're scared of what Wanda will do to them.
And also the doctor was like, oh, these small towns, these small villages, it's so hard to escape. So I think
Yeah,
that's something to do with like a little
Oh,
Pleasantville, but you can't get out of it, Hotel California thing going on. You know what I mean?
And now we know with episode 4. Now
Yeah.
we know that there is somebody who wants to keep everything that is
Exactly.
in there, and nobody gets in, nobody gets out. Hotel California kind of
The
vibe.
question is who. Another detail I wanted to talk about with the third episode was, I love it when an actor can like really be ugly, like that scream of Elizabeth Olsen when she was giving birth. Like,
Yeah.
and then with Vision straight up in his face, they're about to kiss, and he was like, ah! I love that
That
shot.
was so
I
It was so funny and so slapstick also. It's
I
like,
laughed out loud. It was like
This
4
is
a.m. in the night. I was
this is Elizabeth Olsen's moment.
I, I love
I
her now. I'm
feel
just simping over Elizabeth
she-
Olsen right
she's
now.
like
so good.
Marvel should give her a bigger role in Phase 4.
Agree.
Yes,
Cause
I
yeah,
agree. I agree. But you know what?
yeah.
I also super love what's her name? Theona Paris. Theona
Mm,
Paris who plays Monica Rambeau. She's
mm,
so good.
she
She
is
is
good.
so
Yeah.
good.
Episode 3 establishes
Yeah.
Wanda's
Yeah.
motive.
She wants to
Like
keep this. She wants to
uh
stay here.
especially when any point of reality that's being brought up,
Mm,
she doesn't like that. She
mm.
doesn't like that shit.
Retcon that shit.
And she'll kick you
Yeah.
out if
Retcon that shit.
she'll kick you out if you remind her about it. So
I like that you say that because that moment where Monica Rambeau is like, oh yeah, Pietro, he died. Ultron killed him. Wanda shifts. She does that hell tilt that she always does in the older films when she's like going like, I'm going to
Crazy.
hex
Yeah.
you. She does that and it's like, oh wow, this is MCU Wanda and she's back.
it's like she's keeping the dam closed within herself.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
And
exactly.
anytime someone brings it up, it's slowly cracking. And
It
she's
is.
afraid it might burst open again.
Yeah.
Right? Because when she acknowledges that Ultron is alive, then everything becomes true. Even to the point that I think the biggest fear that she doesn't wanna accept is Vision passing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which
Right?
actually was why I felt that like when this became clearer in episode 4, I actually felt that it was so sad. It was so sad because you actually saw that this was her literally dealing with her trauma
Exactly.
because she
Yes,
lost
it's
her family,
yeah.
diba? And then she saw, she was horrified when that vision of Vision came back, and she's been sugarcoating everything for
Yeah.
herself. And I thought it was just like it really really hit me how depressing and how how
Bittersweet.
sad this
Mm.
really 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 is. And it kind of mirrors somebody going through depression or depression.
Depression.
Depression. Depression.
Fresh.
going going through depression or some form of grief,
Yeah,
wherein they'll
grief.
have that phase of denial, and they'll try to hold it in, hold
Yeah.
everything in, and try to keep everything's fine, everything's okay. And when somebody tries to reach out, they might lash back, or they might hex you out of their world,
And this
right?
is
There's like so many metaphors in there.
And then this calls to everything that Civil War was talking about. Like you guys are super powered individuals, but if you lose your control, if you lose your cool, if you're going through depression, what will you do? Like if Hulk loses it, he can destroy a
Yeah.
city. If Wanda loses it, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
This is,
And what will she do to
She
herself,
hijacked the
right?
town.
diba?
She hijacked the
She
town.
kidnaps a town.
Huh?
She kidnaps a town.
I guess we're way beyond the boundary already. So you know what? Let's talk
We
about
crossed it.
episode
We're
four,
in
man.
episode 4.
I know
We
we're
did we
itching.
did
Okay,
that electric
so
thing.
again, so we'll go first to the very first scene.
Let's talk about that opening
And
scene,
I
man.
think it was pretty cool to see the blip happening as it happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah, and it
In a
happened
hospital.
inside the hospital,
yeah.
right? So all of the half of the patients disappeared. Now the half of the patients came back. Where they disappeared, like specifically in the area where
That
they
was
did.
so crazy.
Right?
That was such a crazy like in the opening first frames, and then I could already see the dust. I was like, "Oh shit, we are."
Exactly.
I was like,
That was my
the
that was my
dust
thought. I
slowly
was like,
forming. The hands of Monica. I was like, "Oh shit, we're coming back to the blip." And everything. I like we see the good part. I mean, months later in Far From Home, right? With Peter Parker. But this is like right after things, re-emerge. So her mom had cancer, right? And then so she was healing, she was in the hospital, and then the snap happens. So Monica
Yeah,
disappears. And then the
yes.
mom
that's why she comes back in the hospital.
the mom
Because the
eventually heals.
doctor, because the doctor knew her, because I guess they had
Yeah.
a relationship, because she was the
Yeah.
mom's doctor. It just so happens that, oh hey, at least she runs into that doctor in that same hospital, and
Yeah.
the doctor didn't resign in the past 5 years, right? But so the doctor said that your mom died 3 years ago, which
Yeah.
was 2 years after you disappeared.
Exactly.
So that was the five
Yeah.
years. That was the 5 years.
Yeah. So this show is more or less right after Endgame.
Yeah.
That
But
is.
she did remember that in Infinity War she did want to run already. She did tell Vision that we can just right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
she
yeah.
had that intent already of like just forget it, let's just hide. She was already planning that with
Yeah.
Vision when they were off in where's that, Scotland, England, or something.
Right.
So she
Yeah.
already had that intent. It's just that here comes Captain America. Oh, come back, and then
Mm.
she's like, okay, gotta do this. So it would make sense that after Endgame, she would literally just, girl, she's
Like,
been through a lot. She's full of herself.
sabi niyo,
Mhm.
wait lang, maraming nangyari. Wait
Ah,
lang.
stress. Teka lang.
Babakasyon muna ako.
Time out.
Magbabakasyon muna ako.
Gagawa mo tayo ng
Yeah.
ano,
I feel
alternate
her so
reality.
much now.
Yeah. So I hope before the series ends, we get to see that moment zero when she decides to create that reality for herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
What triggered her to do
Yeah.
this?
I feel like she started thinking if Vision was alive,
This
this is
is
the
what.
kind of neighborhood we wanted to
Mhm.
live in.
Maybe
Right?
she saw
And then
somebody there who had
it grew,
kids.
and
Yeah.
then that reality just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
took hold. Like took hold.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Maybe
interesting.
she
Like a
was
lot.
there. She was like, I don't know, doing errands or something. She got triggered because she saw, maybe it was
A happy
Agnes
family.
who was there
Yeah.
with, a happy family, and she broke down.
Mm.
I mean, it's interesting that we call it what could have possibly triggered her, but like if we go with the depression metaphor, I mean, the smallest things can trigger somebody into a breakdown.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to see this is what happens when a superhero, when one of the
Yeah, because at
omega
one
level
point,
mutants breaks down.
Exactly.
because at one point she gets greedy about it, right?
Mhm.
At some point, yeah.
Because she's an Avenger, right? So when she arrives at Westview, and Westview is still normal at this point, when I want to see that moment wherein she's like, "I'm gonna take this whole town.
Mhm.
That's
This
interesting.
town
Yeah.
will, this town will be my home," and then she just changes everything,
And then that's
right?
why
I
in
want
the
to see
sign of
that.
Westview it says home is where you make it, right? That's
Oh,
that's
Yeah.
does
the
it?
yeah, Westview, home is where you make it. That's why it's eerie because it's like
Oh, oh my
anyway.
So
god.
so
Uh,
now so now after that intro, so we see Thor. Apparently, Thor is already an established thing. That was one thing that I
apparently.
was surprised about.
And
Yeah.
also, what I noticed was because sword means sentient world observation response division, right? But they changed it to sentient weapon. So they changed world to
Mm.
weapon, and I wasn't sure why. Because I guess if it's sentient world, it's like we're looking out to other worlds. But if it's sentient weapons, that means living
It's
weapons.
it's I think it's any threat from
Maybe.
not here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that just piqued
Yeah.
my interest. Parang why did they change it from world to weapon?
But
And
but
they did have that
I was
conversation, like highlighting that when they were talking, the what's his name, Tyler? Is his name
Yeah,
Tyler
the head,
or something?
Tyler. Yeah.
yeah, Tyler,
Yeah.
the acting
He
director.
he was saying that like we've had to make our own weapons. And I remember Monica Rambo was like saying that parang this wasn't supposed to be a weapon thing. And he was like saying that well times have changed. And then there's this interesting shot where like they focus on something but I couldn't get what it was. I have to watch it again. They cut to this thing and they focused for like more than like 5 seconds, for like about 5 seconds, so it's deliberate. They focus on something and I didn't know what it was.
So yeah,
Forgot.
I think I remember what you're talking about. But so what you're saying is sword is supposed to be like a defense, earth defense, right? But now they're sort of taking the offensive after what happened in
Yeah.
Endgame,
Which makes sense.
which
Yeah.
makes sense. Is this basically Ultron happening again? Because after the Battle of New York, we're like, okay, there are sentient beings. Let's create robots that can defend us, and you know how that turned out. So this is probably history repeating itself in a way.
I was just surprised that it was as established as Shield at that point.
They have a huge
Right.
headquarters.
Though
Look at
They
that
had a
headquarters.
huge building.
yeah, though after Winter Soldier, Shield is like capiche, right? Because of
Ah, well,
Hydra.
true.
So maybe
True,
since
like in
then they were sort
the
of building.
Citizens' Eyes, Shield
Yeah,
after Winter
it's
Soldier
corrupt.
was meh already.
It's corrupt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's meh already. Apparently, si Fresh Off the Boat guy,
Randall.
si Randall, si
Oh, his name is Jimmy
Woo,
Woo. Yeah, Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo, like I found that super funny. Like there was a big sign that's Westview, and then, officer, can you please tell my associate what you just told me? Well, and then there's no such thing as
Westview.
Westview, and there's a big ass sign that says
Yeah.
Westview,
Yeah.
I love
and
I
then
love Monica's expression there. She's like,
and
Just
she
like
looked
looking
at
at
the
the
big
sign.
sign, and she looked at the big sign.
And then where are you
It
from?
was like,
Really?
Eastview.
Eastview.
and I love that like before they walk
Yeah.
away, she like looks at the sign one more time and then she looks at the, the cards again. The parang, baliw ba
It's
kayo?
like,
I love our new
yeah.
additions, our new characters. Like you said, Randall Park. Randall Park, si Jimmy Woo. Because
Yes.
he was
And
the.
not so new. Not so
Yeah,
new
because he was
additions.
I
in Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
He was
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man
yeah.
2.
Yeah.
I
Ant-Man
got
2.
I get Coulson vibes from him, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
really need like the frontline guy.
Yeah, but he's not too serious.
Parang
He's like
ganon.
lovable, kind of like
Yeah.
baduy guy. And we
Yeah.
also have
Kat Dennings!
Kat Denning. Ah,
Cat,
Kat
I'm so happy
Dennings!
she's
Cat's
back.
back.
Darcy.
Darcy, yeah, Darcy
Yes.
was.
Okay. I just found it funny that those three group of scientists have the most exposure to MCU to MCU's happenings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Selvig got hypnotized.
And
That's
then
right.
Jane got possessed
uh-huh,
by an infinity gem.
that's true.
And now it's Darcy's
It's
turn.
Darcy, yeah. But I love their dynamic. I love the when they finally discovered like that signal, and then parang they were basically watching WandaVision with us, and then it became like oh they were getting invested, and then
Yeah.
Darcy was like eating chips, and then you
You
want
want
some, and then Jimmy was like yeah I think maybe of having two kids later on in the future, and then no potato chips.
Which
I,
is
I love their dynamic.
Oh no. Oh no.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
But
work well together.
but one thing that interested me was when Darcy discovered like the show, right? And then Tyler sees it for the first time
Mhm,
and he's like, is that real? Is that recorded? Darcy's like, I don't know.
mhm.
Right? And he's like, book me a plane. I need to
To
meet
headquarters.
I need to go to headquarters, right?
Yeah.
Who is he gonna contact?
Oo nga.
Baka si Nick.
That's a good point.
Maybe it's time to call
Yeah,
Papa
'cause-
Nick.
Si Boss Nick.
Jimmy Woo is like, so why is there a TV show about two Avengers?
Yeah,
and then that's when he says,
Right?
book me a plane.
yeah. I have to. Yeah,
Yeah,
book
book
me a
me a
plane.
plane. I need to go. I need to go to
Needs to make a
headquarters.
long
So I'm
distance
like,
call.
but he's the head guy. He's acting. He's the acting director.
Yeah, who else could he possibly call?
Who's the other
You're the
head
acting
honcho?
Oh,
director.
yeah, who else?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other head honcho then?
Unless. Oh my God, this is unless. What if he is actually working for Hydra or something?
No. No.
Because we have been seeing Hydra commercials, diba? The Hydra
That's
silk.
right.
So
That's right.
I
No,
don't know.
but
I
I
mean,
think Hydra is just from
That's
Wanda's
part of
memory.
Wanda.
from her psyche,
Because
from
she's
her
been
memories.
because she's been brainwashed to be a Hydra agent.
That's yeah.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
Strucker. By Strucker.
That's
Okay.
right.
Just
But
a
I'm
wild
just
theory. Just a
interested.
wild
Like, if
theory.
Tony's not there, if Tony was alive, Tony would be the other end of that meeting. But Tony's not alive.
Yeah, who's the
Cap's
head
gone.
honcho?
So who's
Maria Hill?
who's the one who's the one heading Avengers? Like the people remaining.
Oh,
Don
nga.
Cheadle? Don Cheadle? I don't know.
Falcon?
Who's the next in
there?
line?
Yeah.
Diba? Who's holding
Wait,
like
wait.
the management office in the Avengers base?
That's true. No, all of the OG are sort of retired.
Who is not on leave?
Yeah, who is now on
Who's
leave?
not who's not
Or
on leave?
what is his face?
I think.
And then Cap went Cap
he
went back
to a
in
different
time.
time. Oh my God.
You
Time
know
travel.
what would be so funny? This is off topic. What would be so funny is the first scene from Ant-Man 3. She's like the acting director because no one wants to take the job. And so it's him. He just cut like in the chair. And then when people meet him, he's like, I was the bottom of the barrel.
No one else.
Nobody else wants it.
That'd be funny though.
Nobody else wants it.
I wanted to talk about so who do you think is the big bad right now? Because obviously we've been speculating things like Mephisto, speculating things like if it's Hydra. Who do you think? Because obviously what we're seeing right now is Wanda is sort of has something to do with this whole illusion. She has control over it, but she's also sort of a victim at some points also because of that jump scare scene. I mean, why would you jump scare yourself? Or maybe it's just her
Yeah.
psyche crumbling down. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think is pulling the strings here?
I feel like it's her. I feel like it's her, and it's just her trying to take everything in, which is like a lot. And I think like out of all of the Avengers, she was the one who really wanted out. She was not the one who like even from the very beginning, they were kidnapped by this organization,
Well,
turned into miracles, and she lost her brother, she lost everything, and then there's all of this, and she didn't really sign up for any of this. She just happened to find herself in the middle of everything and
That's
being one
true.
of the most powerful beings in it. So I really think that this is her. It's sad, but this is her own doing,
Oh
and this
yeah.
is just her like. So
yeah.
it's like episode
Okay.
4 for me was like at the very end. I was like, oh my god, girl.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Monica, basically when she got pushed out, she was like, "It's all Wanda." She was saying, "It's
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
Wanda." I don't know if it's a misdirect or it's actually her, but that's it kind of raises my hair a bit if it's just really this this whole catastrophe is just all Wanda, and it's
I
just
feel
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
scary
cause,
yeah.
what
I
she
feel
can
like it's
do.
scary if
cause
it's
there
just
was
her.
this scene. They actually showed the scene, diba? Like literally, she got thrown out. Right?
Yeah,
She
Mhm.
got thrown out,
Hadouken.
and
That was like
then
the strongest Hadouken ever.
at first
Hadouken out of a dimension.
you could totally see Wanda like while looking as her powers fade from her hand. You could totally see like the parang she was thinking, was that the right thing to do? Because I have this theory. Okay, sabihin ko na habang nandito tayo.
Okay.
I have this theory that he's gonna be one of the bad in Doctor Strange 2.
Now I
Oh,
think that.
oh
Now I think that.
no.
Yeah, I think
Now
she's
after
gonna be,
episode
Oh
4, I think that.
no,
right?
really?
She won't be the main bad, but she's gonna be one, and then at the end they'll band together and like Avengerize the whole movie,
Oh man.
right? It's not mind control.
That's true, that's
She
true, that's true,
deliberately
that's true.
wants this to happen, right?
Yeah.
She wants
And
this reality. She wants
she's
this
like,
life.
she doesn't care about anything anymore, right? I don't care about Shield. I don't care about how
Yeah.
we defeated,
Yeah.
saved the world.
She's ready to throw it
You,
away.
we saved your world. My world's already gone. Let me just have this piece of like reality to myself,
Yeah.
Leave me
right?
alone, di ba? I
Yeah.
mean,
And
yun naman eh. I mean,
Leave
she's
me
yeah,
not
alone.
parang
hurting
leave me
anyone.
Exactly.
alone. Just give me a space, and I'll just live here.
Let it be
Yeah.
mine. But then
Yeah.
maybe because
Oh,
people
let's
are
be mine.
poking, people are, trying to get in. This is what's gonna this is what's gonna alam mo yun?
It's gonna make her snap. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a
Aw,
and that's
Wanda.
how even if it's just self-preservation on her part, 'di ba? She still kidnap people inside the
That's true.
town.
That's
yeah.
true. That's
She
true.
felt them off.
And that in itself, and since Sword doesn't know anything about what happened to Wanda, they will view this as like she's being a threat.
Yeah.
She
She's a
is.
threat. She
Yeah, she
is,
really is. And I think
right?
she doesn't even. I
Yeah.
think she's just trying to make her own little thing, but she just doesn't know the scope of her powers anymore. I don't think she's doing this in
Mm.
purpose. It's just that her powers are so chaotic right now. I remember that
Yeah.
whole scene with the pregnancy, and then
Unstable.
everything was just going crazy, and then the stork. But I think a lot of the things that are happening are sort of in the fringes of her powers that's beyond her control na, and it's just going rampant,
Yeah.
going crazy.
But the
Yeah.
scary thing about that is she she would rather put up with that
Then go back to reality.
than go back.
Yeah.
Parang
Yeah.
Oh.
okay na
And
magkanda loko-loko yung mundo ko dahil magulo powers ko. Mas okay na to kesa na bumalik ako sa labas ulit.
I want to give
and
Wanda a
Parang
remember
hug.
ganon.
that
I want to give Wanda a
remember
hug.
what
Okay
right?
lang yan, okay
Right? I
lang
wanna
yan,
give her a hug
Wanda.
too.
It's a very dark theme.
It is.
Yeah.
And right, she had this little conversation with Vision where he said that like, was this we don't have to stay here. And she said, yes, we do. We do have to stay here.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's okay, you don't have to worry. I have everything under control. That's what she said at the very end. And then she's like, oh, okay, what do we
Yeah.
watch tonight? Back to normal.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. She's fine. She's fine.
Yeah.
It's like it's so
She's very very adamant.
Yeah.
She's very very adamant to keep this
Yeah.
thing going, right?
Whatever the
And
cost.
why I think is she's gonna be a big bad, she's gonna be one of the bads in a major Marvel movie,
Mm.
is at that point where she's forced to break it all out,
And she's gonna lose her
right?
kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And when
I
that
do think the twins
and
are real. I do think the
and
twins are
then
real.
Ah,
and then
man.
when that happens, she's gonna antagonize everyone,
Basically,
Yeah.
she's gonna blame
right?
everyone for losing her kids and Vision and her perfect life.
Kasi parang inisip niya, I'm not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
diba?
Slightly mind
I'm not
controlling some
hurting
people,
everyone.
but yeah.
Which I guess explains why she also I don't know if it was her or a consequence of her putting the people in that village. But right, Jimmy Woo said that he contacted the relatives of the missing people and they don't know who they are anymore. right?
Wow.
So he
Yeah.
it's like
I didn't even pick that up.
major memory wipe. That's like a
Damn.
if they're not in the same area, that's like global memory wipe. If all of those people, everybody who came into contact with
Uh-huh.
them, suddenly don't know who they are. And
Damn.
so it like by her logic also, you're right. She's not hurting anyone. She set up this nice little village
Mhm.
for everybody that's there, and everybody is happy, just cooking and having dinners and whatnot. So like in her mind, yeah, why can't it be this way? Why do you have to poke with your drones and your helicopters and
Mhm.
stuff?
Yeah. Why are you poking at my reality, right? And
Yeah.
when that point happens, wherein I, f- we will actually, I actually believe that we will see this reality breakdown in real time, right? It will
Yes,
happen.
yes.
It's gonna be dark after that. Right. Those
Oh.
roles,
Well, okay,
right?
this talk has sort of gotten a little dark, and actually, I think this is the best point because I actually have two other guests here to join us. I didn't tell you I have two surprise guests here.
Surprise!
Hi guys, it's
Oh my
WandaVision.
gosh!
Thank you for watching my show. Thank you for watching my show. Please,
Oh my gosh!
please
And
don't
so
think I'm a
also,
bad guy.
Yeah.
we're gonna
I
have
feel
a.
that another Avenger will appear at the end of this show.
I know.
Another
I
Avenger.
feel it too. I feel it too.
Yeah.
I feel it.
It might be Captain Marvel. It might be Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange mostly, I think, or Wong.
Or Ant Man.
Maybe
Ant Man
Doctor
comes and
Wong
like,
is
Strange is
there.
busy.
I'm here. I can get small.
And that's how he becomes acting director. I also think it was foreboding because like Darcy, remember she was like saying that the radiation is like through the roof and stuff, and then si Mr. Direct, sabi ni Direct said parang oh but it's supposed no sabi ng guy is like oh it's
I
supposed to
thought
be
it was
safe, right?
safe.
And then she said for now, so you don't tease something like that and expect there's gonna be a
That's true.
there, there's a
I,
she set a timer on it. She set a timer on it
yeah,
already.
I feel like the dome will get wider and wider, so it captures more and more
Oh
territory.
It's a
yeah.
hexagon, right? It's a
Yeah, it's a
hexagon. Is
hexagon.
that
Yeah.
what they're
The hexagon.
See, I feel that it's gonna widen. It's widening,
That could be the
right?
threat. Maybe that's why because
Yeah,
she's expanding her reach, her power.
it's gonna be a mini Avengers assemble at the end. I feel.
Jimmy Woo's little what do you call this whiteboard with all of the questions are basically all of the questions that fans are asking too.
Yeah,
Like
that's so
why
meta.
hexagon? Why bombs? Yeah.
And
So I felt
And I
like
like that.
Skip
And I
and
like
Darcy
that
were like, oh,
they're identifying the cast. They're identifying the cast.
yeah, like this guy as
Dinis
this
ko
yeah,
guy.
yung montage.
this guy played
This guy,
by
Yeah.
Nor, played by, ganyan, ganyan. And then this guy, played by, this is Norm. This is
gusto ko na
Herb.
may gusto ko na may sword talent sheet sila na print
Oh,
na
may
may sword
talent sheet
logo
sila.
tapos may talent sheet sila na nakakabit siya.
Talent sheet.
I actually wonder. I don't know if we've discussed this yet, but I am very, very curious as to what Evan Peters' role is. What role he'll be playing in all of this.
Evan
Because
Peters. Wait,
he's cast Quicksilver. Quicksilver. So here's the thing. And for all of you watching us, search WandaVision cast, and you will actually see Evan Peters there as an unnamed guy. But you do not cast somebody who played Quicksilver in an alternate movie in the when X-Men was still with Fox. You do not cast him and put him in WandaVision as some unknown guy because it's like why would you put him there? And if he's not playing anybody important, why not name who he is
Oh my
playing?
god. Oh my god, that would be so cool. I want Quicksilver
I
back.
swear. I swear.
But,
Look it up. Look up WandaVision. He's there. But here's the thing that I want to know. Why cast Evan Peters and not Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played him in the MCU?
Alam mo,
Why cast the
busy.
Fox Quicksilver?
Busy.
Diba?
Wait, Evan Peters is sorry.
The Quicksilver in the Quicksilver in Fox, yung slow-mo guy.
Oh,
That the,
oh my
in
god. Okay.
Fox.
Yeah, from Days of Future.
Si
Ano?
Aaron yung MCU.
yeah,
Aaron yung
Ah,
MCU.
okay. Sorry. All that excitement, Kina, was I wanted Aaron. What's his name? Aaron.
Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. I
I don't-
want him back.
I don't
want him
think
back.
I don't think he's gonna come back. I don't think he's gonna come back.
Well, fuck you too. No, okay, but
No.
But that's also
why
very
would you
interesting,
cast
though. That's also very
somebody?
interesting.
Why would you cast somebody who played Quicksilver? And then in WandaVision, she brings up Quicksilver. Why would you cast the alternate Quicksilver guy when you have a Quicksilver guy here? I mean, like, you would only do that if you have some plan to acknowledge different universes. That's why I'm like,
So
why would you
No,
cast him?
Because I also think that they're setting up for a multiverse kind of thing. right? And I feel that it's 80% possible or true that by the end of this show, the multiverse will exist totally.
The multiverse.
Because in Spider-Man multiverse, kasi in Spider-Man 3, it confirmed that
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah.
be
Toby
Spider-Verse.
Maguire and
Yeah, yeah,
Andrew
yeah, yeah,
Garfield.
It's
yeah.
gonna be Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So before the movie starts,
Hmm.
they have to establish that kind of like system or world to
Interconnection.
begin with,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know how I
To
feel about
open
that
that.
though, to be honest. To have Fox's casting characters. Because for me, it was sort of hit and miss. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because that would mean that Halle Berry's Storm is canon.
And Cyclops is James Marsden. He's a good actor, but he's not Cyclops for me. I'm sorry, but for me, I don't know. That's a lukewarm thing. But the fact that they are
Pwede
opening that door
Redmayne pa
is
rin for
interesting.
Cyclops.
Maybe Kevin
But
Feige
Yeah.
is literally screwing with us. Like just put the guy in the IMDb. I'll pay him for it. He doesn't have to act just to screw up the fans.
it's like a red herring. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, don't
I
do
would.
that.
Yeah.
To be fair, I really don't. Yeah, I'm also really confused
Mhm.
because some people are saying he might be Quicksilver, obviously because he already did that. But some people are playing he might play Speed. So,
Hey, yeah, he can be Tommy.
mhm.
He can be Tommy. Hmm.
Going from here, and there's 4 more episodes, so this is gonna progress really fast. This is gonna
Oh, it's
progress
four more
really, really
episodes.
fast.
For
I
days.
feel that the birth of the twin is the highest point in her happiness. And then the remaining 4 is just downhill from here. I feel like it's gonna slowly break apart. Sword is gonna find a way to get people out little by little. Like her neighborhood is disappearing because
Mm.
people are getting rescued. People are getting rescued,
Yeah.
right? And then I feel like at the end of it all, they're gonna leave the final encounter of Wanda at the very last.
But
Yeah.
I think one
Yun.
important thing, guys, just really the attachment that the fake attachment. I don't want to call it fake attachment, but this attachment that she's building with her faux kids. It's really what's I mean because if there's something that the strongest thing is like a mother's love, right, for her children, and like if this is something that she's starting to get attached with, and watching them grow, seeing them like become teenagers, and if it comes to the point where it's gonna be taken away from her, Wanda's Wanda's gonna snap. That's what
Yeah.
I'm afraid of,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that's what we're looking forward to.
Which make it a really good premise for her to start this like whole reality thing that she had.
It's a perfect reason for antagonist. You know those reasons that parang they're not really bad.
Yeah.
They're just human beings.
Yeah.
They're dealing with their thing. It's a perfect story for a bittersweet villain, and I am just so scared of you guys being right. I hope you guys are wrong
Yeah.
because
It will actually, even if you're afraid, I think it's gonna color the MCU
yeah,
better
yeah, yeah.
It
in some
will.
way.
And
It
I feel like
will.
it's a really really interesting villain. It's a really interesting villain because there's nothing bad about them. It's just
It's
the
a
wrong mix of
mm, circumstance.
circumstances
Yeah,
and powers, I guess.
It paints like a more interesting
it
picture,
does. It
right?
does.
Which kind of like goes
So
goes along the thread that the MCU is also showing. Like for example, with Thor, depressed Thor who was still worthy after all,
Yeah.
and now you have somebody who is locking themselves up in this whole bottle of grief. It just looks like a sitcom, but it's still somebody who's grieving. So I feel like yeah, the MCU it would actually make a really really great story. It would make a really great story. It would send a great message also for those who are
It
going
does.
through
What
mental health
I guess
problems.
overall, what I like, I mean, what MCU is doing, also because I guess we were kids when we were reading these comics, and they weren't this necessarily that deep. But now it's speaking to an audience that's our age, 16. That's our age. The concepts
Oh
are
yes,
also
yeah,
sort of it's still the same story, but told in a more mature way, told in a more
yeah.
intentional way, and then like the reasons for the bad guys are more deliberate, are more yeah, that's
Mhm.
how even if you're a superhuman, that's how you would react because that's the circumstance that was laid upon you. And I like how MCU is sort of making writing their stories in this angle.
yeah, so there's a lot of things that got answered, but at the same time, there's still some lingering questions.
Mm.
Okay, a lot happened. They already set what the mood would be moving forward. So it's not gonna be all sunshine and rainbows,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's gonna be a hell of a lot of acceptance and denial on certain people's part, right? And I'm all for it.
Well, I did get something slightly wrong, by the way.
Mm,
So we were talking about like the 5 stages of grief. Denial is first.
right.
Denial is first. So we are just in the first stage of grief. What's
Oh.
next is anger. So Wanda's gonna explode.
Mm,
Wanda's gonna explode, and I feel like we're gonna hit that episode 7
Yeah,
or
yes.
oh my
hot
gosh,
damn,
she
hot
needs a
damn.
therapist.
Somebody
Yeah,
get that
so we're
girl a
seeing
shrink.
we're seeing denial right now,
Uh,
and anger's gonna come next.
Woo! Okay, well, I like I think you guys have amazing theories, and I really hope you guys are wrong because I love Wanda. And but then like I said, I mean, I think it works for really good storytelling. I mean, I'm captivated. I'm sure a lot of other people are hooked on this show, and and because of the quality of this of the writing and the production that MCU is putting into these TV shows, we have. I mean, it's all looking great. It's a rainbow coming toward us in the next few months and years with Disney Plus and all the
Yeah.
MCU phase 5, right? This is phase we're in phase 5,
Or,
phase 4.
or.
So yeah, thank you again, guys, for sharing your thoughts. We're gonna see you again after 2 episodes, after episode 6, and I hope
5 and 6.
yeah, 5 and 6, and I hope the reality is still
Yeah.
is still in one piece by that time because dude, these episodes are coming at us like a truck, man, and there's so much to talk about. So anyway, thanks again, guys, for joining once again. This has been Out There,
Mayor.
And Mika.
and we'll see you next time. Peace.